The Passion according to John is proclaimed every year on Good Friday. And like the other three, there's a betrayal and arrest, a trial, crucifixion, and a burial. But John's version of the story, in the tone and in some significant details, is very different from the others. Just look at the character of Jesus to see how different. Let's start with the scene where Jesus is arrested. The story says, Jesus and the disciples go across the Kidron Valley to a place they knew where there was a garden. Judas brings a detachment of armed soldiers and police. And the story continues, Jesus, knowing all that was to happen to him, came forward and asked them, "Whom are you looking for?" They answered, "Jesus of Nazareth." And Jesus replied, "I am he." And when he said this, they all stepped back and fell to the ground. Armed soldiers and police fall to the ground. Jesus is not a victim at the mercy of his opponents here. He's orchestrating the events of his passion. And did you notice anything else here? There is no agony in the garden, no praying that the cup should pass by, no sweating drops of blood. In fact, all along the way in John's gospel, we have a Jesus who directs the action. From the very beginning in chapter 1, we know this is a divine Jesus, more than in any other gospel, one with God from cosmic eternity, from the first God moment. Listen for a few other differences from the synoptic accounts of the Passion. 1, the trial scene has us asking, who's really on trial here? Is it Jesus, or are the Jerusalem leaders and Pilate the ones being judged? 2, on the way to Calvary, Jesus carries his own cross. No Simon of Cyrene in this story. 3, his death is not shameful or humiliating. There is no crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Jesus lays down his life freely and calmly, knowing that he will take it up again. So in light of this high Christology, as it's called, we might ask, is there anything in this story that regular people like us can relate to? To respond to that question, let's look at the characters who surround Jesus in John's Passion story. Here are 2 of them, Pilate and the beloved disciple. Pilate, the Roman governor. The trial scene between Jesus and Pilate is the centerpiece of the story, told with a lot of drama. The world has tried to put Jesus on trial, but here Jesus is the true judge, whose power is from God, not from military might or political power. And at the central scene of this trial, Pilate and Jesus have a kind of testy exchange. Pilate, "So you are a king?" Jesus, "You say I am a king." And then Jesus gives his mission statement. "For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth." And Pilate reacts. Is it with sarcasm? Or as a political leader who's been thoroughly corrupted, maybe in desperation, Pilate responds, "What is truth?" I wish we could take a long pause after this line on Good Friday. Stop everything and reflect ourselves on that question. What is truth? In our present experience of this pandemic, as we sift through the nonstop information from political leaders or advertising or social media, as we're caught between attitudes of doomsday and who cares, what is truth? The second character I want to bring to your attention is unnamed. Only in John's Gospel do we have the anonymous character known as the beloved disciple. We find that character at the scene on Calvary, where at the foot of the cross stand the mother of Jesus, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. The story goes, when Jesus saw his mother And the disciple whom he loved, standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." And then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home. In this scene of the death of Jesus, we see a new family being born. In words, "Here is your son," "Here is your mother," and in symbols. The soldier pierces Jesus' side and blood and water flow out. Blood and water flow out from Jesus' side like from a womb at birth. Here, a new family is created, and that family includes all of us. Who is this beloved disciple, and why is he or she, as some scholars conjecture, unnamed? Maybe because we are invited to put our own name in her or in his place. Maybe because we are invited to see in this scene ourselves as beloved disciples, called to create a new family with those on the other side of the room or on the other side of the world. Who is our mother, our sister, our brother? The New Testament scripture scholar Amy Jill Levine says that in studying the last days of Jesus' life, we find ways to understand and question our own lives. What is worth dying for? What is worth living for? What are our values and how have we lived up to them? Holy Week, the time to walk with the followers of Jesus through his last days, pondering these questions and our responses.